still get ourselves started. Take your time, lay all the way back, and then let some good deep breaths start to flow. Inhale, exhale. You're used to me, my classes, I like to start off with a little intention. So the intention for today is along the lines of someone gives you a lemon, do you make lemonade or do you become sour? So one of the fun things that happened this week, when I was at the park with my kiddo, we were having a blast. It was very early morning, like the sun had just come up because it's getting so hot later in the day. So we were having a blast at the park, just playing, sliding, climbing, all the fun things. And then some sprinklers came on that even kind of circled around and got the whole park part wet. So it's kind of one of those, okay, life gave us a lemon. So are we going to become sour and are we, going to have to leave all grumpy because the sprinklers took away our fun? Or what we ended up having was almost like a new definition of happiness for me. And that's happiness is running through and around the sprinklers at the park with your toddler. It was just so much fun. We were running, trying to avoid the water and then run through them. And we just ended up having the time of our life. And it's because we turned that lemon into lemonade. And it ended up creating just kind of a really fond memory for me. Just we had a blast and he was giggling so hard and it was just so contagious joy to be around that. So that's our simple intention for today is just how are we approaching those little challenges that life gives us? And is there any room to transform it into the lemonade instead of the sour lemon? So that's the idea that will lead us into our class today. As we move through the different poses, especially if the body's really communicating things to you, turn it into lemonade. Try to just enjoy the chance to finally stretch out the body and be present. So with all this to lead us on, let's stretch arms all the way to the back wall. Huge inhale. And exhale, lean part way to one side. Stretching through side ribs and shoulders. Inhale back to long. Exhale, banana shape to the second side. Take this with your breath a few good rounds. Each inhale is long, stretching all the way back. Exhale is leaning to the side. 2 more breath cycles like whenever that next breath finishes, take the right knee into the chest. Give it a good hug. Sitting into the hip flexors for a moment. Even roll through the ankles. Remove some of the tightness from that area. Like the toes are painting the biggest possible paintbrush circle. And start to stretch the leg up to sky, moving into hamstrings. Grab on as high as you can reach. And then continue to let the heel try to lift so the back of the leg is taking the bend out of the knee. Lots of sensation going up through the hamstrings, even maybe up to the calves. One more good inhale right here. Breath in. And out. And hook this right heel over to back leg. If you're ever confused, you can look at the mirror or look at your neighbors, like a pigeon posing your mat. The right heel hook to back left and then slide the shin in so that it stretches through the muscles of the right. Your leg should be hooked all the way close to where your chest is. Gonna let the muscles around the hip relax. Just a few more breaths. And when the next exhale finishes, take this leg out of the fabric, maybe extend up to sky, a little bonus, and drop it all the way down. Left knee comes to the chest, give it a good hug. Ankle rolls, each direction. Then leg up to sky. Continue to try to take as much bend out of the knee as possible by extending the heel higher. Okay, so pigeon pose on this side, hook the heel to the back right side, slide the shin in. All it takes to get into all those deep muscles is to try to relax the muscles. The muscles have this way of kind of contracting around the joint to protect the joint, but when we're wanting to stretch it out, you have to do the opposite. You have to let it relax so that all those muscles can receive this chance to just be in the stretch. The next huge inhale. Exhale. Good. Take out the leg. Drop it down. So leave the legs in the fabric, but sit your torso up. Let the arms stretch to the toes for a couple of breaths. Notice how this lets the back muscles have a chance to stretch a little bit. The hamstrings are finding length. From here, let the knees start to open outward as much as they can while you slide the heels in close to the glutes. The elbows pop out free off the front. And then as you let your head curl down, clasp your hands and place that behind the back of the head. It helps to stretch through the neck and even all the way down the spine as well. Releasing the hands, bring the shoulders back inside. We're gonna play with vampire pose specifically so that we can get to the hamstring stretch down behind us, touching the floor. So for vampire, we need to have fabric around the shoulders so the head pops out the back. But usually where we are right now is a little bit too much fabric for the neck. So we need to scoot some of that fabric down. So step the hilt in a little bit closer to glutes. If you lift up the hips, straighten some of that fabric down. So then 1 or 2 of those will usually take about the right amount of fabric. You want it to completely cover shoulders, but not double layers. So keep on scooting it down if you need to. Keep the little blanket that is around our feet, keep that covering the right leg, and then the left leg puffs out. Okay, so now we're set up. Hands reach up high on the fabric that's close to us. Reach up high, left and right. Bring the feet up above where the hands are. They push into the fabric to help us rise upside down vampire. Good, now we need to bring the right foot down, the one that's in the fabric. Spot in front of the chest. So you need it to be covered with fabric. So if you don't have fabric around right foot, come back down. Good. Cover it. Good. So I'll help you. Anybody who needs it, I'll pop out in a second to help. But with the right foot in front of the chest, you can step left foot to the floor. Then start to sink your weight back to the lip. That's okay. I can help. No worries. Okay, so I'll come on this half first. Right, so you have this foot right here. Like that. And we look fun. You did 3. No, you want it. So you just want to grab something upside down right here. Just the obvious. There you go. Oh. Break the other place against no. Have to spin upside down first. Super close. Yeah. I'll back upside. Okay. You still do have a lot of neck. Okay. Those that have one foot, you're gonna start to switch. So you can either roll all the way in and start from the beginning, or like what she just did, come to that flying upside down kick. You just step one foot into the pocket and then the other foot down. So either way. You don't want to switch me. You don't have to. No. Okay, I'm gonna be good. So make sure you've had a chance for both legs if you're doing the full thing. It's fun to play around with these things. Okay, wait, I don't know. You got it. And no pressure for those that are not wanting it today. For anybody who wants to get upside down, just a couple of That's okay. Go ahead and take your foot all the way out and start from the beginning. It's usually easier than resetting. So. Good. So it looks like we're all at about that point. You're satisfied with being upside down. So lay down if your head is still needing to flip your blood pressure. So lay down until you feel like all your vital signs are good. You're ready to be back up. And then you'll help me know just by sitting up. That's when you're ready to move on. So no rush. Your time. Whenever you're comfortable back up to sitting, clasp your hands behind your back. Take your hands to the right hip or the right waist, and then start to drop your right ear to the right shoulder. So one of the awesome things of that vampire pose is the massage you get just by your body weight being on the fabric like that. That massages on the shoulders. So now we're just giving it that beautiful chance to stretch out the shoulders. One more breath on this half. Good inhale. Exhale. Slowly the head rises. Then hands shift to left hip or left waist. Left ear drops to left shoulder. And obviously if you need to readjust exactly where your head is, slightly forward or slightly backward of this spot, that's absolutely fine. Move around until you get to your good spot. Good work. One more breath in. Out. Head slowly rises. Hands release. Let's take a twist. Bunch up the fabric that's on the front door half of the room. And it's going to be your right arm that stretches to the back wall, or your right hand circles around to grab the fabric. Whatever version of the twist looks like. Think of lengthening the spine tall before you rotate your S. And release. Bunch of fabric to the back door. Left arm stretches back or circles around the back side of the head. Inhale, tall spine. Exhale, rotate. And release. We're going to come out of the fabric to a standing place. So you can either just exit forward or you can do a flip since we were practicing flips before. You're doing the flip, grip tight close to your shoulders. Bring the feet tight up. Then you have to keep the grip really tight as you move all the way around. So your choice, you don't have to. Good work. You made it. Okay. So once we're out, however you get there, keep the fabric wrapping around the inside of the elbows and then start to walk forward. You're either going to kind of bow the belly forward to get into the shoulder stretch or walk the feet back like a plank. So walking feet makes it a little bit more intense on the skin. So if that's too much, then you'll just bow the belly forward instead. I give it a couple of good breaths, just stretch through that shoulder area. I do let the fabric slip all the way to my elbows if you've got the flexibility for that. So 2 more breaths, deep inhale. Great work. Take your body weight over your feet. Start to free out the arms and then come all the way back. Fabric's in front of you again. Grip a little bit wider than shoulders. And just let the upper body start to bend through. You'll notice this is the opposite through the shoulder area especially. So give it some time just with stillness. If eventually you'd like to create some movement in the spine, you can either take cat-cow movements, round the spine up and then drop belly down, or slight swaying to each side. Just watch out for your neighbors. I'll give us a couple of good breaths, being right here. Play around with what feels good for a moment. And eventually start to rise. We'll take our right ankle into the fabric. The hands start to slide down. The torso gets closer to the thigh. A good chance to lengthen through the backside of the leg again. By the way, I usually stand pretty close to the palm line for this. That helps me not feel like I'm forcing away from it. So if you need to hop closer, go right ahead. Just long, slow breaths for a few cycles. If your balance ever feels off, have your hands be higher, because if you ever start to feel like you're falling over, a higher grip is way easier to catch than a low grip. Just know that little trick for yourself as you go to any poses and any classes. Higher is easier for balance. Beautiful. So torso rises. Now we're going to hop even slightly in front of the plumb line. What you're going to do is find the spot where when your leg goes to the side, it stays. It doesn't try to go forward. It doesn't try to go backward. So you'll have to play around with exactly what that best spot is for your standing foot, but it's just easy. It just stays to the side. And when you find that standing spot, bunch up the fabric, both fabrics in both hands. The left hand slides up, the right hand down. Sometimes this is nice just for opening up the chest. So yeah, exactly, you got it. Sometimes I'll even start to sink my body weight a little more to the side so that the choice, if you feel like you're at that point, pretty deep though, so no pressure. Good. If you lean to the side, take your weight back over your standing leg. Your left hand grips the closer strand, and then letting this knee bend, the one that's in the fabric, bring the foot behind you. And then once it's behind you, then the right hand grabs the other. So it should be a low cross down to your back. Got it. That's it. So yeah, let it go past your knees. Keep it around ankle. Yeah, you'll just have to work it down to your ankle instead of your knee. Yeah. There you go, that works too. So once you're here, we're still keeping that light pressure of the fabric right behind the shoulder blades. Start to lean your weight backwards. That'll get us into a nice quad stretch. Okay, back up to standing on our own body weight. And then from here, you try to straighten the leg behind us as much as we can. Slide the hands up. If you're at the point where you can even sink your weight backwards, go right ahead. If you're like me, you come in contact with the wall behind you, start to hop forward even more. Good, so this is a deep back bend, so that would be a reason if it's too intense to not go too far. You have control over how deep you're sinking into it. Good. And take your weight back over standing leg. Top your foot back to the first position where we're slightly behind the fabric. And then let this leg unwind all the way through the side, all the way forward. We're switching legs, so you can either do swinging switch, which is step one foot in, the other foot out, or just switch. That's always going to be fine. Okay, so we're not standing too far behind plumb line at all. And then hands start to slide down. Those hamstrings. Okay, so the only thing that happens when you bend your knees. So next time keep the leg straight, and that'll prevent it from. Yeah, no worries. It happens to a lot of people the first time, so no worries. Yeah, because even if you practice while you're standing, bending the knee, it just slips right there. So yeah, keep it straight. Okay, so torso rises up, hop forward, so even slightly in front of the plumb line. You're finding that spot where the leg just stays to the left. Once you find that spot, bunch both strands up, right hand up, left hand down. Your choice if you're sinking even more weight to the side. And if you went to the side, bring the body weight back over standing leg. The right hand stays gripping, just the close one. This other leg, you have to let your femur rotate, and then once it's behind you, then the knee can turn down. Good. So then whenever it's behind you, the other hand falls in, and start to sink your weight back into the quad stretch. You got it this time, yeah. Another huge inhale. Good exhale. Perfect. Weight back over the center. Slide the hands up. And then your leg starts to try to extend backwards. Maybe it's not too intense on your low back and you continue to sink your weight further back. That's pretty intense. So if it gets too much, just take some more of your weight forward. Good work. Pop your foot back to the first spot, but slightly behind the line. This leg tries to journey all the way back forward. We'll end up with the leg out of it, but if you wanted to try another swing switch, just to see if you can get it this time, you're welcome to. And then we'll step all the way out. Right. That's it. So you got it. Okay, so fabric is in front of us again. Take the fabric up to your hips like little belts. Keep pressure so that it stays in the bones. It doesn't rise up to guts at all. So it's in the bones. Walk forward to take all the slack out of the fabric. Bend at your waist until you can drop hands to floor. It's still around bones. And now 3 good steps backwards takes us under palm line. That's it. Beautiful. So if this is intense pressure massage on your hips, you can use your hands and feet on the floor to lift the hips even a little bit away from the fabric. A good, like the tallest down dog you've ever had. But as long as this is feeling okay, we're going to try to go for standing split. So your right leg kicks out to the right. That reminds us to catch that foot around the outside of the fabric. Lift your right leg up and breath outside. Once you're there, slide the right foot up as high as you can. And if you need even more, hop your foot on the ground and closer. Nice. Try to help it. Yep, that's it. Okay, that's fine. Let's try to help you. Okay, yeah. Take some time out. Yeah. Even on the floor if you need to. Okay, we're getting ready to switch the legs. So slide that right heel close. And then a gentle release. Left foot. Kick it wide to remind you to the outside. And then extend that left heel all the way up. Sometimes people will lift the other foot off the ground briefly to catch the foot, and then you'll reset that. Yeah, you did it. Inhale. Exhale, slowly return the foot close to glute, and then gentle release. Either stay in the down dog a few more breaths, or some people will go to a hip. So you lift up the toes and you hug around the shin. But too much time with your head being upside down, that's always a sign to come out. So you would just slowly rise. So I'm not rushing anybody out, but that's always an option if your head is telling you it's time. And so just know it ended up more around your belly, so usually keep it more. Yeah, so if you want to get sit down more, that's fine. And when you're ready to come up, just take fabric behind your back. Lean back into it. This is giving our head some time to flip back around. So sometimes I'll let my hands, my head be in my hands. I'll kind of bend my right knee, sway to the right. And bend the left knee, sway to the left. Feel how that stretches through that hip area that just got the compression. Or lengthening back through that spot. Good. Hey. If your head is ready to be standing on your own again, walk your feet back until you are standing. Fabric comes back around you. Okay, so let's take the right foot back. Let's take it directly into the fabric. And slide up this time if the leg extends forward. Again, we're not too far behind plumb line, just like an inch or two with our head. Leg is extended forward. This time, if you feel ready for splits, let it go all the way forward. If you feel like you still need more time, just lean forward like you did the first time. Standing weight. Our weight is over our standing leg. Bend this leg, hand slide up high. We're gonna try to stand inside, minimize the rocking as much as you can by utilizing the core as you rise. Good. The left leg wraps around that left side. That's it. So then once the left leg is wrapped, the left arm needs to come forward. It feels funky until you get the shoulder past it, and then you're totally wrapped up safe. So left shoulder is forward and the left leg is wrapped. Once the shoulder's forward, sometimes it feels nice to slide the foot a little higher to the thigh. So this is a pressure massage for the foot. Try to relax for a couple of breaths, but if you need to come out before others, that's okay. Good. You're so close to that arm. Sometimes I'll start with my wrist and then move to my elbow and then get the, yep, you got it. Beautiful work. Close the eyes. One more breath if you can. Exhale. Good. Right hand on the right side for safety. Left hand grabs on as soon as it can as the shoulder comes back behind. Unwind the left leg and bring it through the middle like a flamingo. What we're going to do is try to flip the right foot so that we're kneeling both legs inside. Good. So if you came from outside, you can either stuck the knee and then get the other knee in, or come back up to standing briefly. Yeah, you have to lift the other knee high to slide it in. Yeah, try to have it closer to shins than your ankle, and that'll give you more space to do it. Yeah, good. Good. You got it. Good. Keep on taking your time. If you need to stand instead, that's fine. But whenever you get here, bring one hand to each spot by the shoulder, tilt the knees forward, and then start to arch the heart up. Slide the hands high. Use the leg strength to take your body up to the hands, and then try to slow motion lower. Good work. Left foot steps into the middle. Make sure you're not too far behind plumb line, and then hand slide up nice and high. It doesn't have to be a death grip. It's more of just a loose amount to just help us balance. And then start to sink your weight forward like the splits, or take the first version. Just lean down. Lots of patience with our body. It takes time to create length. Okay, weight over the center, bend the knee, dip up high, try to slowly rise up so we're minimizing the swing. Wrap the right leg around the right side. And then right wrist, elbow, shoulder, all of it needs to go forward. Maybe the foot sits higher up the thigh, to the heart. Maybe even try to close the eyes and focus on the breath more so than the intensity on the foot. But yeah, come out if you need to, nothing wrong. Two more breaths if you can maintain it. Left hand grabs for safety first, and then right hand grabs as soon as it can. Unwind the right leg, becomes a flamingo. And then flip the left foot to lower. It's a tricky thing, so you can kind of do like a combination of both, like whatever works for your body is fine. Yep, that's it. That's okay, yeah, you'll play with it, yeah. So one hand by each shoulder, tilt the knees forward, and then heart up. All the way up. Slide hands high. See if you can try to lift your body up before you slowly lower down. Sometimes it's less graceful, and that's okay. We're building strength wherever we're at. Let's go for our straddle back inversion. If you know that it's not a good time for you to invert, just pause where you're at. I'll give you some options in a minute. If you're going for straddle back inversion, the fabric is across your hips. Your thumbs and palms are pressing the fabric there so it doesn't move. One foot steps back. You bend your knees until all the slack is out, and then tiptoe forward. Keep your core engaged. You'll slowly start to tilt, hands go up, knees need to go wide, and then the feet wrap around. But once you've got the feet wrapped, you're welcome to let go of the hands and release back to the okay? Okay, swinging just indicates you were not quite under plumb line first, but that's okay. We'll practice on that. Yes, that's it. You're super, super close. Try to just keep the fabric around your hips, and then tilt forward, your core is really engaged, and then tilt your hands like that. There. Yeah, you can play with slightly higher or slightly lower. Find the spot that works for you. Some people do need to grab a blanket for padding until it gets better. For you, why don't we hook around under your shoulder blades? Just come to this. And then just let your spine hang. So you get the benefit of that length in the spine without having to get sick. Yeah, you can take that inversion, anybody who wants it. You're good this version of the length. A lot of people come to these classes for this inversion time, so I'm not going to rush anybody out. Stay as long as you need. Whenever your head is like, I need to come back around, then you'll join us in this kind of chair pose. It's fabric under the shoulder blade point, so it's not pushing on your armpits at all. Hip is clearly saw the core effort, so the hips just hang. Sometimes I'll do frog leg circles, so straighten back and then frog leg circle forward. Straight back, frog leg forward. And back to chair. The knees tilt over toward the front door, and the torso tries to twist back forward rather than backward. You're facing the mirror. That's it. And knees lift up, tilt the knees to the back door, but the chest then tries to return to mirror. And flip back up. Let's straighten the legs, pass the hands back to the back, and try to straighten the arms and pull them away from glutes as much as possible. We're releasing the hands, walk yourself back. Okay, fabric around in front of us. Right foot inside. Just one more chance to be with the hamstring right here. So again, hop up close to the plumb line. So option 1, just lean forward. Option 2, splits. Maybe this is the point we're ready to go the deepest yet, or maybe not. Just reach that point that feels helpful for the hamstrings by this point in class, this much stretching we've gone through. Feet over the center. Bring the knee past the middle. So past the line of the fabric. And grab your heel so the shin is at whatever height your knees feel comfortable with. So I can go flat. Some people are tilted a little bit more. But then one hand close to each shoulder and start to sink your weight forward until you feel that nice hip stretch. Over the standing leg, we're going to do kind of a tricky thing to get us into a splits using the floor forward. If you don't want to do that, you'll just come out to stand and then hook your foot behind you, but you'll see. So slip the fabric back down to the foot. You'll come up to stand, do the flamingo thing. This time extend the foot forward. That left foot is the one that is going to stand on the floor. So a nice tight grip. Flip the right and then land on the floor with the left. Good. So then you're hooking your right foot if you're just walking around the front. Yeah, turn around and face it as much as you need to. The right foot's in and then turn back around. Okay. Yeah. Yep. So all you have to think about is left foot landing to the floor. You just flip the right foot. That's it. Yeah, magic. Oh, that's okay. It would have happened except for the fabric didn't do it. So that's okay. Okay. We're going to take an easy quad stretch for a moment. So fabric back behind the shoulders. So get your armpits free. Good. Lean back. Easy quad stretch. Pull weight back over the center. Drop hands to the floor. And this is that split. Lengthen the legs. And then walk the hands as far back as you can. As you come in contact with the wall, your foot on the floor needs to hop forward. If possible, I like to try to get my hands behind that front foot. So it's almost like a tripod. It feels much more stable. But sometimes we're not quite there, and that's okay. More breath in, out. Walk the hands forward until this left knee over to the floor. Deep pigeon, lower to elbows. You'll notice if the leg in the fabric is bent, and then you kind of rest in that, it's more of like a quad stretch versus straight leg. Moves it further up to the psoas area. So slightly different stretch, bent or straight, just go with what feels best. The leg is in the fabric, let that knee to the floor. Plant the hands. Downward facing dog. Bend through the knees, the hips around as needed. Eventually walk the feet forward. Huge inhale to rise. One more side. Back behind fabric. Step left foot into the middle. Step Last chance for the splits here. So either bend forward or keep the hands high for the splits. Notice when we repeat things over and over, it gives it a chance for the muscles to go a little deeper each time and we're a little more warm. Okay, back to weight over standing leg. The knee bends, the knee goes past the fabric line. Grab the heel, slide it up to the angle that's okay for knee. So an easy grip, close to each shoulder. Lean forward and a couple of inches, sinking your weight forward. That's all it takes to get there. Weight comes back. You either free out this leg, come in front and get the left ankle in, or come up to stand. Send the right foot forward. As we step the right foot down, we flip the left. Oh, so close. Like I can see it almost catching and then it just flips right past it. Oh, and your knee too, so close. That's okay, take your time. Whenever you have that left foot in, it's that easy quad stretch, just lean back. Like your knee just caught it for you. The easy quad stretch, just lean back. I like to free out my armpits, by the way. For me, that just feels like I have more control over where I go. Okay, weight over standing leg. Find your balance as you drop hands to floor. Both legs straighten. If possible at all, try to walk your hands back as far as possible. Walk the hands forward. Swivel the knee down, pigeon pose, lower the elbows. And start to sink your weight back. Inhale. Exhale. Drop this knee down. Downward facing dog. Walk forward, forward fold. All right. So we're about that point in class, ready for our final Shavasana. If you'd like to join in the fabric, go right ahead. If you'd like to be on the floor today, that's fine. And if you want a bonus stretch for the arms before you get there, do the same thing we did earlier. Hook your elbows, arch forward for just a couple of breaths. And then you can take all those final steps to get inside, weight the fabric, about 5 grips. And then come under plumb line. Good. Take your time. Whenever you have a day where you feel like you've been in the air too much, you're kind of dizzy, any of that, you can just lay on the floor. That's always welcome. It's that final resting place. Notice how many things in class today could be like lemons. feel like the sprinkler's coming on. And it's like, oh boy, what was that? But it's like, how do we turn the joy on? There's a question mark. So perhaps it's helpful for the Shavasana to see how much we can really just invite in joy, almost like we can breathe in joy with every breath. Maybe joy has a certain color in your mind. So as you breathe in, it's like you're filling your lungs with that color. And it starts to spread all around your body. Imagine you're becoming the essence of joy right here and right now. The inhales, the exhales. Introduce movements to your body, stretches that feel good. You just start with the fingers and toes and wrists. Those that are in the fabric, sometimes it's nice to take the stretches we did at the beginning, stretching the arms to the back of the wall, swaying side to side. Or you can take a fetal position. Body long, but roll one hip to stack on top of the other hip. Curl in and arch back. Whatever feels good, take another minute or so. Balance out the body, balance out the spine. The breath. Eventually, when you're ready, we'll come up to a comfortable seated place. Hands together in front of the heart. We have gratitude for each other. Feel this sense of joy in our heart, in our bodies. We have that simple intention to lead us forward, recognizing that maybe when life gives us things that initially seem less than optimal, maybe that's just a lemon giving you an opportunity. Like it's asking us, want some lemonade today? So with this idea to lead us on, let's wrap up the time that we got to share together with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. Be filled with light, happiness, and peace. Namaste.